despite not being a liberal or a conservative myself, since I belong in neither party, and I'm not even in the center, I'm just like not in any political party at all. Um, I have to say this. I don't really believe in white privilege that much. Because if white privilege was really a thing, Asians wouldn't be generating the highest income. And if white privilege was really that real, then I think it's safe to say that there wouldn't be minority scholarships for minorities that other people belong to. And if white privilege was that strong, they would have gotten scholarships and grants from college, just like that. However, it's not just the fact that I'm skeptical about this white privilege thing, but nobody talks about gay privilege because they seem to have the most privilege out there. In Proposition 8, 2008, nobody even wanted to support gay marriage. The majority of Californians actually were against gay marriage more so than those who supported it. So, with that being said, that was an example right there of how most Americans felt, with California being the second largest state in the country. So, and the fact that most Americans still felt that strongly about it, and all of a sudden, 2015 was when gay marriage was legalized in all 50 states, according to the Supreme Court. So, just like that, boom, they were allowed to be married in all 50 states. And they seem to have a lot more privilege than many other people because they seem to have their rights, they seem to have their demands met more than just about anyone else in the country. It's seemingly so. And let's not forget something. Gay people have had more rights in 4 years more than black people have had rights in 400 years. Think about that. But nobody ever seems to stop and think about that at all. Even the Black Lives Matter seems to be catering more to the gay community and the LGBT community more than anyone else. Now, gay people deserve rights. I'm not going to sit there and say that they don't deserve any rights. However, what I will say is this, though. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, it seems it seems to me that the majority of people who are getting the attention are transgenders and people who are LGBT. The rest of the LGBT community, like gays and lesbians. Even the organization itself was started by one of the founders of Black Lives Matter is a lesbian, um, and she herself is actually married to a trans male. And when you think trans male, that means someone who is born a woman and later on got gender reassignment surgery to become a man, along with adding testosterone hormones in there. So that's just how it is, you know. So in the eyes of other people, they're just gonna assume, oh, that's a straight up lesbian right there. That's just how they think. So, so I'm pretty much saying that gay people seem to have a lot more privilege than, obviously, way more than black people ever did. So just think about this. Gay people, as much as I don't have a problem with them, as much as I'm totally cool and okay with them, they have had more rights in 4 years than black people have had rights in 400 years. So that's something you guys need to think about. And if you discriminate against a homosexual, even in the workplace, the whole LGBT community will come after you. That's just how powerful gay people are in this country. And they pretty much run the half of Hollywood. You say anything bad about gay people, there will be protests from LGBT supporters who are always on the same side as BLM supporters, because there was a protest just last week, clashing with the police. Black Lives Matter and gay pride protesters were clashing with the police just last week in the streets of Washington D.C. Washington D.C.'s park. So, with that being said, that actually did happen, whether you want to admit this or not. So my point is, I feel like uh, gay people. Um, I'm not saying they're the enemy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them or whatever. But they have had more privilege. So nobody ever seems to talk about gay privilege at all whatsoever. Because even in Hollywood or any form of entertainment, they seem to be more favored than anybody else. And notice this, I mean, when it's a trans woman, the trans woman's voice is heard more so than the trans male. I mean, their voice makes more of an impact on television and the internet and the mainstream media. So I find it a little bit ironic that nobody ever talks about trans privilege or gay privilege because they have more of a privilege than anybody else in this country from the looks of it. They, I mean, even black people don't even have as much privilege as them. I mean, a white privilege was nowhere near as strong as gay privilege is now. You know, they're very very powerful. They a lot of them seem to control Hollywood, or should I say, most of them, and they control just about anything else. You go after one of them, the whole LGBT community will go after you because they have a strong backup support. So if you want to if you're gonna mess with anybody, I highly suggest you don't mess with the LGBT people because believe me when I say this, they have a very strong community. Even though they're the minority in the United States and all over the world, they have a very powerful voice, and their voices tend to be heard more so than a man that's straight. And I'm not kidding when I say that. So you could talk about white, straight, cis male or whatever. They don't have the power and the voice. And what I do like about the LGBT community is that they're actually against religious discrimination. So I have to give them props for that. But if you were to say anything that disagrees with them, then you might have to watch out because they are definitely the strongest and people you don't want to mess with. I mean, despite the fact that from what I have seen, they are very respectful people. But anyway, just pennies for your thoughts. Anyway, take care.